Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Nick, and I co-run Gateway Collectibles with my brother, which is an online trading card shop and collectibles store here based in St. Louis, Missouri. I wanted to talk to you guys today about my journey with starting a Pokemon card business in 2025 and some of the challenges and experiences that I've gone through in the short month that we've been operating our own website. A little bit of a background about myself. I'm obviously living here in St. Louis, Missouri, as the logo would imply, with the big gateway arch and everything. I've always had sort of this side hustle of selling things on the internet. I got my start about 3 years ago on eBay, selling things from my house that I found around here. It was actually computer parts. I had a computer part that I was trying to get rid of, and I was thinking, well, maybe I'll sell that on the internet. And I made quite a bit of money on that. I think it was like a GTX 1080 or something like that, and I made like 300 bucks. This was when graphics cards were still insanely difficult to find and valuable. I'm sure it wasn't worth the $300 at the time, because it was still kind of old, but it sort of kick-started my career in e-commerce or online retailing, and that sort of got me started with saying, like, oh, what other things can I flip in my house and see if I can make some money on. And I started out like a lot of people start out by trying to sell like video games, because I've been a gamer for pretty much my entire life. I love playing video games. I've had every system and console that has come out, since the Nintendo. It's been a big part of my life. So I was trying to flip all the video games that I didn't want anymore, got rid of all those, made a bunch of money, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, I've run out of things to sell. So now what am I going to do? And so that sort of moved into this space where I went into thrift stores, and I went on Facebook Marketplace, and I was searching for things that I could find that was at a lower price that I could turn around and flip on eBay for a profit. I mean, that really went really well. We made a fair amount of money. I made a decent amount, enough to pay for some vacations and buy things for my house, and do nice things to go out to dinner every once in a while. But over the time, it gets challenging, and finding inventory can be difficult, especially during these winter months. Garage sales are a pretty popular sourcing opportunity for us here in St. Louis. It actually gets cold around here, and so garage sales only happen during the late spring through summer and maybe early fall. And so I thought to myself, what I want to do as my goal to sort of get out of my comfort zone and grow my business in 2025. And so I spoke with my brother. He is been into Pokemon cards, and back in like October and November, he talked about how sort of the Pokemon market was really taking off, and things were getting pretty heated up. And I've always been a fan of Pokemon. I grew up with the original anime, Ash Ketchum and Charmander, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, all of that jazz. And I always enjoyed it, and I had always collected cards, but I only collected like very specific ones. Like I always really enjoyed getting the ghost Pokemon, so Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, and the like, and I would always, and Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise were my favorites from the first generation of Pokemon. And so, I never had a huge collection, but, back last year, my brother started talking about, I started getting back into it again. I started buying packs and ripping it, and I pulled a chase card, and that just sort of led me down this path to where I am today, which is here in front of you, speaking to a camera in my basement, talking about starting a Pokemon card business. So it's been an interesting journey thus far. So what did I do in order to start a Pokemon card business? So the first thing, obviously, we want to do is you probably want to set up some sort of online retail space, whether that's going to be your own shop. I initially started out trying out Shopify, and that was a little bit difficult because Shopify wants like invoices from like the retailers where you get the Pokemon cards, and so if you're selling like singles or stuff like that, where like you don't obviously have a receipt from like a distributor for selling singles, like they'll take down your listings, and so they'll kick you off. So me and my brother, we switched over to Wix, and right now it's under gatewaycollectibles.shop. And then eventually, when we are able to transfer the domain from the Shopify website, it'll be gatewaycollectibles.com. So we've set up this Wix website, and I say we, but I actually mean that my brother has set up this Wix website, and he's been working on it for a fair amount of time, trying to get everything set up and sort of we can sort of hit the ground running. I looked into selling on TCG Player, and I looked into selling on eBay and Mercari, and at the margins that you're going to be getting Pokemon cards at this current point in time, with the way that the market is going, those just aren't going to be profitable unless you're like really screwing somebody over in a trade, which just is not something that I'm willing to do, So, if someone's trying to sell a large collection for like 70, 75, 80% of TCG Player value, TCG Player and eBay are going to eat like 15% of that. And that's because, everyone says, well, it takes 12% fees. Well, actually, eBay takes 12% of all of the entire price of the sale. So including the price of the item, the price of shipping, as well as the price of the sales tax that gets tacked on for wherever your buyer exists. So in my experience from selling on eBay in the past, 15% is about the margin you're looking for, and that doesn't include paying for promoted listings or paying for anything additional, like if you include free shipping, so you have to eat the cost of that. So we decided that we were going to go ahead and start our own website, and so that's sort of where we are today. And once we have built out our website, we have to say, okay, well, let's get some products. And that can be really challenging, because I'm sure if any of you have tried, if you're watching this video, it's likely that you have. You've probably watched other videos about getting English Pokemon distributors, it's just not going to happen. If you go to like Southern Hobby Distribution or GTS or Big Al's distribution, or you can literally go to the PokemonCenter.com, they will give you a list of all the distributors, and you can call every single one of them. Go ahead, feel free, pause this video, call every single one of them, and then when you get done, you'll come back and see that none of these distributors are willing to sell to you, especially if you only have an e-commerce platform. And that was true even back in 2022, whenever I first started doing this online reselling thing. A lot of distributors just do not want to mess with people who primarily sell online. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I think it probably just helps like increase the barrier for entry, so they're not getting inundated with tons and tons of applications from people who may or may not know what they're doing. So since we couldn't get an English distributor, and I knew that going in, I knew there was no chance that I'm getting an English distributor, and I wasn't really willing to go and wait around for Target restocks and clear out the shelves and be a scalper, which just is not a good way to go about business. First of all, it's not sustainable. You can't go to places, especially if you have a full-time job, every single day and wait around for restocks. And second of all, it just looks bad. What the next step was I was looking into maybe buying other language products. And so I initially thought about Korean. So Korean products, or Pokemon products for more specifically, are generally the easiest to get. And then secondary to that, Japanese products are also just as easy to get, and there's just a lot more out there. But first I'm going to focus on the Korean products. So I had no idea where to start with getting Korean products, how to go about reaching out to them. I'd watched some videos from other content creators like PokeAnnie or Danny Phantom, and trying to sort of suss out like what they had suggested, which generally the gist of it was like, okay, go on Instagram and message Japanese people. Okay, sounds pretty straightforward, but it wasn't as straightforward for Korean distributors. There's not a lot of Korean Pokemon card distributors on Instagram, and if they are, the prices that they're asking are generally about what it's going for on like the secondary market, which, if you're going to do a Pokemon card business, like, you're probably going to want to make money, right? You're not going to make a ton of money right away, especially right when we're starting out. I knew that going in. I knew that probably for the first couple of years of this business, it's probably not going to be profitable. We're going to be pouring every single bit of profit that we get back into the business in order to build it up to the point where eventually maybe we can take some of those profits for ourselves. But so I first started out looking around in Instagram, and I looked around on, Google. I typed into Google Korean Pokemon distributor, and obviously that was a fruitless endeavor. But interestingly enough, what actually worked for me was I went to ChatGPT, and I asked, and I said, hey, I'm looking for a Korean Pokemon distributor, and it pulled it up. It said, "Give me the name of all three of these people who were in this Korean Facebook group or whatever that sells Pokemon cards." And similar to the Japanese setup, they sell wholesale to Americans overseas. They charge you whatever the price is with a markup that they get from the distributor, and they ship it to you. And so I asked ChatGPT, and it gave me the names of these people, and so I just reached out to them. And I reached out to all three that I could find in that group that seemed to be the ones who were going to be able to fulfill the orders that I had. And it was funny that I had mentioned to them, I had said, hey, I'm looking to get these Korean TCG products, because, while I'm primarily interested in Pokemon right now, because that seems to be it's going to be the quickest selling thing, and because I need to turn over money quickly, sort of the speed of cash, I'm obviously going to focus on that product primarily, but I'd also be interested in other stuff later on. And I finally decided on one, and I told them, I said, it's a funny story how I found you. I actually, asked ChatGPT where to buy Korean Pokemon products, and it said, and they thought that was pretty funny. They said, hey mom, look at me, I'm on ChatGPT, and so that was just sort of an interesting tidbit about how I found my very first Korean distributor. And I will tell you, initially, it's very daunting to reach out to people, especially if they're strangers. First of all, it is, of course, a business transaction, and most of the time people are, obviously, they understand why you're reaching out to them. They're like, you'd say, hey, I'd be interested in your Pokemon TCG or whatever price list for Korean cards, if you have one. Do you mind sending it over to me? And most of them, if not all of them, are going to send you some sort of Google Doc or like an Excel spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet gets updated regularly with their prices, which is really, really nice, because then you don't have to constantly keep asking them, okay, what's the price of this? What's the price of that? Because especially in Japan, where this is going to be sort of more relevant, the prices are up and down like all the time. I mean, literally day by day, you're going up and down, and it changes hour by hour in some cases, depending on the set. And so they'll give you the spreadsheet, you'll look at it, you have to do some conversions, because now they don't always convert it to US dollar or euros or Australian dollars or Canadian dollars or whatever type of currency that you use for you. So download a currency converter app, go to Google, type in currency conversion, and do the math. And so once you find one of the products that, one, is going to be a desirable product, and two, it will need to obviously have some level of profit margin. Don't expect anything more than like 30%, like on a really good deal. Especially like Korean products have like the best margins by far right now, but they also sell the slowest. And the more popular sets are obviously going to be more expensive. So Korean 151, they charge a certain amount for that. That is much higher than something like, Korean Wild Forces, for example. Terrestrial Festival is going crazy, even with the reprints. That's very, very difficult to get your hands on for a price that you can sell and make money, unless you're buying in large bulk volumes. And if you're just starting out, it's probably not going to be large bulk volume unless you have a lot of starting capital, which I didn't. My brother and I, we each had like about $1,000 from our individual eBay businesses that we were willing to throw towards this sort of new business venture, and so that's what we did. We've made an order from our very first Korean partner. And before I get into that specifically, I do want to give you guys sort of a word of caution about ordering internationally. Ordering internationally in general is not a big deal. You're not going to have a lot of problems, but scams are abundant. And they're pretty easy to pick out, like, once, if it's not your first rodeo. Like, I've been dealing with like international buyers and buying from things overseas occasionally, so I'm kind of familiar with like the process, and like I've been scammed before, so I've learned my lesson at this point. But if you're brand new to this space, it might seem tempting to like take the bait or whatever, but a lot of the times the scammers are going to be the ones that are going to be reaching out to you. You'll comment in this Facebook group and say, hey, I'm looking for Korean TCG products. Does anybody have any? And then someone says, hey, DM me, or hey, I have this, or join this group or whatever like that. They'll always be like really cagey about everything. You'll ask them for a price. It's too good to be true. It's way lower than their competition. And they always want you to pay by way that you cannot do, like, get your money back. So like doing a chargeback or something like that. And usually that comes in the form of something like Wise or like a wire transfer directly to their bank, so you can't reverse it, because, you know, they'll send you like a fake tracking number that this net. Newsflash, it's never going to arrive at your house because it doesn't exist. And, you know, they'll sort of just make off with your money. And this has happened to people who have lots of experience. So never think that you are too experienced or you're too clever or anything to not get one pulled over on you, because this has happened to people who have lost way more money than I've potentially gambled out there in the international space. So, you know, always, you know, be cautious, especially with dealing with new distributors, and, you know, take your time. Don't rush into things, you know, do your research. And if you know, if you're really uncomfortable and you're really not sure, go into the group and ask, you know, like you can go into like the Facebook groups, or you can check, you know, type in their name, and, you know, type in Reddit afterwards, and sometimes people will say, oh, this person scammed me, or hey, this person's legit, here's a picture of my thing. And so just be very careful, you know, because I would hate for any of you guys who are just starting out in this place, and maybe you have, you know, $1,000 to play with, you know, and this is what, you know, this is your dream, to open up your own card shop, and to have such a huge setback where you make an order and then it, you know, sort of your, you know, your money is just poof, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, there's no getting that back, and that would be a huge setback for a lot of us. So just be careful. A lot of the times in these Facebook groups, especially where, in my experience, the moderators and the admins tend to be the ones who are the most trustworthy. And usually, you can click on their profile and you can say it says moderator badge or admin badge, or, you know, they're posting in the group and they show pictures of lots and lots of products, and that's usually like the best person to reach out to, you know, and you know, make an order from. Just make sure that you're being careful and you're reaching out to the appropriate people. So back to making our first order from the Korean TCG distributor. You know, we reached out to them via Facebook Messenger. You know, I had messaged, you know, all three of them that I could find in said group. I asked and, you know, said, hey, I'm looking for this price list, and they gave me the price list, and I actually had to get the spreadsheet, because sometimes, you know, they don't always send you a spreadsheet, so sometimes they just send you like a copy and paste thing, like, hey, here's our prices, then they don't update it all the time, which actually ended up happening to me, where, you know, I was like, oh, I want to buy, you know, a case of this, and I want to buy half a case of that and half a case of that, and you know, the price had increased, because again, even with the Korean market, the prices tend to go up because Pokemon is just going absolutely insane right now. You know, that sort of eats into your profit margins a little bit. But so, you know, you make your order, and they send you, you know, they give you the opportunity to pay via PayPal or pay via Wise. The difference between those two is PayPal generally comes with like a 5% fee that you're responsible for. So the seller is going to pass that fee that they get charged off to you, and so, you know, that extra 5% that comes on top of not only the cost of the product, but also the cost to ship it. So if you're getting, let's say, a case, for example, just a case from like Korea or Japan, it's going to cost between like 30 and 50 bucks. And so they add that 30 or 50 bucks on top of the price of the products that you're purchasing, and then they charge you the 5%. They charge you the 5% on top of that. Now, this is through PayPal Goods and Services, so the benefit of this is that if you do potentially get scammed, you can reverse the charges. You know, it has sort of like this buyer protection built in, and so that's kind of what you're paying for in this you know, period of time. You're sort of paying for this peace of mind. So my suggestion to you would be, for your very first order from a distributor overseas, pay the 5% via PayPal and take, you know, the hit on that, just so you have the peace of mind. That's what I did, my brother and I, and it ended up working out just fine. You know, I received my product. It's right here. We ordered the Japanese Battle Partners. It arrived in 2 days via DHL. Super fast. I was shocked at how quickly this product arrived from Japan. You know, because I order stuff from like Amazon, or I literally send packages via eBay, you know, from St. Louis, Missouri to, like, I don't know, I think I sent something to somebody who was like in a town like an hour away from here. It took like 6 days to get to them, which was just absolutely insane. And this was like via priority mail. Okay, so, you know, we went over sort of the process of making an order. I went into a lot of detail about the Korean market, but it's very similar for the Japanese market. The difference is there's just a ton of Japanese distributors. Like, there's so many. Like, you could go on Instagram right now, type in Pokemon Japanese TCG, and like it won't even let you get done with the word distributor because it'll like auto-populate it for you because it's so popular right now. Like there's so many people who want to buy Japanese Pokemon cards, and so it, you know, go in there, do your due diligence, look at their profiles, make sure that they got followers, make sure that, you know, they're posting pictures regularly with live, you know, like, or stories and, you know, updates with videos of product and stuff like that, and reach out to them. And they'll do this very similar thing where they'll send you the spreadsheet, or they'll send you a copy paste thing and say, hey, these are our prices, you know, figure out which one works best for you, for your profit margins. If you're worried about Japanese products, if you're selling on eBay or TCG Player, I've noticed recently, even with like some of like the lower end sets, like just the profit margins on Japanese products, even now, has just not been as favorable as it was in the past. You know, Japanese TCG has really taken off here in the United States, and I think, of course, a part of that is got something to do with the fact that English product is like super difficult to get your hands on right now. Like a box of Terrestrial Festival right now is in US dollars like $115 for a booster box, for like, and that's 30 packs, and there's 5 cards per pack, and usually there's like a guaranteed SAR in each pack. So like, especially for Terrestrial Festival, when people are like chasing like Sunbreon, you know, your chances for Japanese cards are, you know, obviously much higher. So, you know, people have obviously figured out that you can just buy stuff from Japan and have it shipped to you, and it gets here in 2 days, which is like just as fast as Amazon, and you know, it's a pretty good deal. I will say that, like, you know, if you're just buying it for collecting or whatever, like, it's not necessarily as good of a deal than you could, you know, just buy it off of like eBay or like buy it from our shop, because, you know, you have to pay like shipping, which is, again, even if it's like one box, like one singular booster box, like you're still going to pay like $25, which is a lot, you know, for one booster box. You know, over here, if you buy a booster box at Terrestrial Festival, you'll pay like $100, usually free shipping or something like that. It gets to your door in probably 2 or 3 days, depending on what the seller's shipping time frame is. You know, it's just it's a better deal. So, you know, if you are interested in buying Japanese cards directly from Japan, and you want to buy lots of them, this is a great way to do that. Even if you're not interested in selling Pokemon cards online at all, you can go and buy as much as you want. Like the thing about the Japanese market is, like, they just have a ton of it. Like, I was talking to my Korean distributor, and it's similar in Korea. I was talking to my Korean distributor, and they were telling me, you know, they just released this new Korea exclusive promotional for the Terrestrial Festival sets, which is like a collecting set. It comes with like a play mat. It comes with like 4 or 5 packs of Terrestrial Festival. It comes with a full art Umbreon, or it comes with a full art Espeon. They were telling me that this product was being, you know, looked at, you know, it's, the shelves are full, and so they're just looking at them and they're like, oh yeah, this looks pretty good, like, you know, but maybe not today, and they put it back on the shelf. And I'm like, I cannot even imagine that happening here in the United States. Like a new release of like Prismatic Evolutions, like when the premium figure collection comes out in September, which is going to include those 2 cards that I described, by the way. Can you imagine like going into Target and someone like is just like looking at it like, oh, you know what, maybe not today, $27, I just, you know, I don't think it's worth it, and then they just put it back on the shelf. I'm like, that's never going to happen here, obviously, because it's insane. So that's just to kind of give you sort of a picture of like how much product is available overseas. So there will never be any shortage of product from the Japanese market, from the Korean market. Even the Chinese market is sort of getting into the game now, where we're seeing a lot more of people like wanting to buy these 151 collections from the Chinese market, where they've got the Pikachu, the Captain Pikachu chase card. And so even that's sort of becoming more and more introduced into the United States, and people are buying it, and it's becoming more popular. And so that's something I've looked into as well. Chinese sellers are probably a little bit more difficult to find. They're not impossible. Generally, they hang out in the same groups as the Japanese sellers, so if you're really interested in Chinese products, it's not terribly difficult to find. They're also on Instagram. Just type in Chinese Pokemon card TCG distributor, and you will come across one. So now that we had bought our products, and we got them shipped to us, and they've arrived here, and we kind of set up our website, gatewaycollectibles.shop. Go check it out. Now we have to like think about sort of this, you know, we got to treat this like a business, right? So, you know, the first thing you're going to want to do is set up an LLC. And the way that I did it was I just used like LegalZoom. And it's not like super easy, and it can be very confusing and daunting because you know, an LLC is a limited liability corporation, and it's its own separate entity. But what I will tell you as good general business advice is go set up an LLC. It is in your best interest if you want to do this long term. If you don't want to just sell at like card shows, if you want to have your own online shop, setting up an LLC is not something you have to do right away, but eventually you're going to start collecting taxes, and you're going to start filing those taxes and stuff like that, and you want to have a separate business account, and you need an LLC to do that. So set up an LLC. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about for our, you know, starting up a Pokemon card business in 2025 is creating a brand. And this is me creating a brand right now. There's a lot of scammers in the Pokemon card market. There's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of resealed packs. I'm sure you can go on YouTube right now and you can search Pokemon cards scam, and you will find thousands and thousands of individual instances of people being taken advantage of by individuals with nefarious intentions, selling fake Pokemon cards, resealed packs, you know, getting caught in the act on live stream rip and ships on whatnot, and it's a lot. And so even these people who had all the intentions in the world of taking advantage of their customers, getting one over on them, you know, opening up packs, taking out the good cards, resealing them with a bunch of crap inside, those people were making tons of money hand over fist. And so you can be a total piece of shit and make a bunch of money in this market, but I promise you, it will ruin your career in Pokemon or trading card or selling online or whatever, probably forever. You know, people are not going to want to deal with you anymore if, you know, you get caught doing something like this. So it's important for you to create a level of trust with the buyer of your products. And so this is sort of the way to do it, you know, seeing my face, seeing that I'm hanging out in my basement with my eBay photo set up in the background, and my very precariously placed product, you know, to see that, you know, I'm a real person. I do have the product that I'm telling you that I can sell, you know, and you know, I want to sell it to you, and I want you to buy from me, and I want to be a part of this Pokemon card community, and I want to help create that community together, you know, where we can all sort of enjoy this, you know, really exciting time to be in the trading card game market of Pokemon specifically, you know, and help you achieve your goals of getting your chase card, or finishing your master set, or having one sealed booster from every single Japanese product in the last 20 years. You know, and so, you know, a part of that is me coming on here onto YouTube and talking to you about, you know, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and, you know, giving you guys updates in the future. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, it's super important if you're planning on selling any product online, independent of eBay, independent of Mercari, independent of TCG Player, or any of those online platforms, because they already have a brand. When someone goes onto the internet and buy something from eBay, they don't say, oh, someone says, oh, where did you get that, you know, where did you get that Pokemon booster box? And they say, oh, I got it from Gateway Collectibles. No, they're going to say, I got it from eBay. And eBay is a well-known market. You know, it's got a brand. It's got millions and millions and millions of buyers. People don't know who I am. And so I have to put myself out there and tell you who I am, and tell you what I am looking to do, what I'm trying to sell you, which is Pokemon cards and other products. I have action figures, I have plushies, I have lots of different things that I can sell you. But, you know, I can't leverage eBay's brand when I'm trying to sell it on my own website. So it's going to be super important for you, if you are trying to start a TCG card business, or any business for that matter in the future, to try and create your own brand, make YouTube videos, make YouTube shorts, create all the social medias. I did not have a TikTok before 2 days ago, whenever I really got serious about starting this whole, like, you know, new exciting adventure in the TCG world. So make an effort, put out videos, create content, you know, be yourself, you know, and it's going to suck. This is not going to be a very good video, personally. You know, I've got kind of an old, crappy Logitech 1080p camera that I'm speaking into. I don't have a professional microphone set up at all like that. But still, I think it's important that you guys can see my face and that you can talk to me via like the comment section, and you know, we can have an interaction. We can build a community together. And so that's why it's super important for you to sort of start creating your own brand, start marketing yourself, putting yourself out there, so people know that you're a real individual, that you can be trusted, and they know that you are a person who is trustworthy. So what are the next steps for us at Gateway Collectibles? So the next steps is obviously to try and start generating sales. I know from my experience on eBay that sales are going to be slow. It's going to start very, very slow. Maybe I'll make a sale a week. That would be awesome. I would love it if I made one sale this coming week. That would just make my day. My week, in fact. Maybe I'll make 2 sales a week, even better. But I know that it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort on my part, you know, like putting more products out there and advertising and creating content and making it so that, you know, I got my name out there so that people, you know, are trustworthy of me and they are willing to buy from me over the other guy, because there's a ton of them. I mean, there's like 25,000 videos that I'm sure have the exact same title of this one that says how to start a Pokemon card business in 2025. Check me out. So the next steps for me, of course, is to, you know, continue cultivating my brand, continue creating content, as well as try to sell some of this product locally. You know, your local community is a place that you already probably have an established presence. If you are involved in the Pokemon community, which I am in St. Louis, Missouri, selling at local card shows, you know, putting listings on Facebook Marketplace, selling in your local buy, sell, and trade groups is a great way for you to start moving some of this product that you have purchased, as well as a great way to, you know, sort of get some of the return on your investment quickly without being subjected to eBay fees or Mercari fees, or even having to market yourself necessarily. You know, if they can see your Facebook profile, you know, your Facebook profile is your own personal brand. So my next steps for Gateway Collectibles is to try and sell some stuff at a local card show. So next month I have already scheduled myself to be at my very first local card show, and I'm pretty excited for it. You know, I've sold action figure stuff in person before, and it was a really good experience. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of really cool people. I'm super duper excited to be a seller in the TCG environment and meet all the wonderful people who are a part of it. So the next steps for me would be to continue selling my products in person, online. If I bought a bunch of bulk art rares and character rares from Japan, and so I'll probably try and sell a bunch of those on Whatnot and probably a few on TCG Player, because the margins on those are a lot better, and that'll help me sort of recoup some of my initial investment. That way I can buy more product that's a little bit more popular and continue to diversify, add more products to my shop, continue fleshing out my website, and making it, you know, the best that it can possibly be, so that I can deliver the best, most exceptional Pokemon card buying experience to all of you who may be watching this video right now. And that's it. That's the initial sort of you know, what I've done so far in the Pokemon card business building adventure of 2025 for Gateway Collectibles. I really, really appreciate all of you who've made it through this entire video so far. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, please share this video, please subscribe, please like and comment, and let me know your thoughts on you know, starting a Pokemon card business in 2025. What kinds of things do you want to see you know, from me? What is the favorite kind of Pokemon product that you are, you know, chasing after for your personal collection? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.